What do you guys think? We do some New York City Orthodox Jewish tunnels?
Yeah, we touch on it for a little bit. There's not too much information surrounding that, honestly.
Yeah.
Even with the more video footage coming out of that,
More
there's probably
confusing.
yeah, there's even less to talk about.
Now I have more questions.
than the mall aliens.
It's a very difficult topic because, number one, there's a cultural component to it that we're missing because none of us are Orthodox Jews.
Although I kind of want their hats. Their hats look
They
pretty
got some nice hats.
styling.
Yeah, they're not bad.
I just feel like I don't have enough to know about with that particular religion and everything. I don't know how to speak on it because I don't want to offend anyone, and I just don't know enough.
Well, and yeah, and anybody who's watching, please be aware, we are ignorant to some degree,
Yes.
and we're definitely not trying to offend anyone, anything we say
But
here.
it is a weird story.
It's still wild.
Now,
yeah.
watching the video of the guy crawling out of the sidewalk was actually pretty interesting. And then you see him run away, and you're just like, okay.
That was one of the most unexpected videos
Yeah.
I have ever seen. 'Cause
I
you
watched
just-
it. I'm
there's-
like,
there's
what?
a hat, and then a whole person just crawls.
I was like, wait, what? And then the area that they show is boxes and it's
Well, hang on, because we're gonna get to that.
yeah.
but
I just thought it was weird.
it's a strange story, and it doesn't seem, again, missing the cultural component. But then you're also trying to filter it through the lens of mainstream media sources and whatever footage is there. So I'll try to sum up what I know of it before we jump in here. Basically, in New York City, I don't even have the right terms.
Because I don't
Help me out
think it's
here.
necessarily a synagogue.
Well, I think they were tunneling into a synagogue or some sort of religious property.
It was definitely a religious property.
My understanding
100%.
is there was two buildings, and these young Jewish men had tunneled from one to another, and it looked like they had almost, like a basement set up, like a room set up under a building, including escape hatches out of sewer grates. And we'll get into some of the footage that they show of small tunnels that go from one space to the other, apparently.
It looks like it's made for carts or something.
Yeah,
It
almost.
almost looks like the ground is cement. But you would have to army crawl through that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like they're just passing some kind of
My understanding of it, anyway, from what I could catch reading, was that the leaders of the synagogue wanted this tunnel filled. They weren't happy with it, and that put them at odds with the young men who were tunneling into it. Is that about right?
That's
Am
I've heard pretty much the same thing. Very similar takes on it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so is this the article? Should we start here?
Yeah, I think starting on this will give us a good basis on what's going on here.
So you can see these absolutely crazy images. So this all led to the cops getting called in while they were trying to fill the tunnels,
man,
and these young men fighting the cops.
So how the tunnels were found is interesting too.
How did they find them? Because I haven't found that at all.
It was a New York utility company that was filling in an area with concrete, and they happened to accidentally bust into the tunnels. And then they were ordered to fill them in with concrete once they found them. And when they did, there was a group that I believe is from this religious building, or it may have been the one that is contesting this, because there seems to be two religious affiliations
like
that
a
are kind
younger
of
crowd and an older.
that are having a
Yeah.
back and forth between it, and there was a protest on them filling them in, and that's what kind of led to the police being called, and that big intervention is that protest, from what I understand, from what I've been able to gather about the situation.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're getting some of this wrong, but we're doing our
absolutely.
best.
I'm finding third-hand sources,
Well,
it's
on our call with Rec, he said something about contradicting himself. I think I have that quote up on some of the Dark Dial stuff. There's a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote about contradicting yourself and how, all great minds contradict themselves. It's to what did he say?
What
Consistency
I find
is the
weird
hobgoblin
fact
of
that
little minds.
They were fighting the cops. Unless you have something to hide, why would you be fighting the cops?
Well, I think if you had something to hide, you would more likely scatter.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had a conviction, and that conviction, whether it be religious or whatever it was, that's what empowered them in their minds to fight the police.
Absolutely. It seems to be a case of like, don't destroy our religious property.
Yeah, nothing would motivate you to fight law enforcement or authority figures more than a religious conviction or God.
Well, Rex saying that the story he heard was that in 2020 during the lockdowns they built the tunnel for them to sneak into the synagogues.
I've heard that as well.
And there could be a connection there, because that's what I thought when I first heard the story, although other than Rex saying it, I don't know that I've seen that in any of the media, because there was those famous cases during the COVID lockdowns where the New York police came in and shut down synagogues, these places of worship, and they fought back and, congregated when they weren't supposed to under the law. And, you could easily make the argument that that's their right under the Constitution.
Oh, absolutely. Freedom
I'm
of religion.
also with Rec when he's saying, like, why are they still using the tunnels if we're allowed to go back to doing whatever?
I mean, I have some theories on that, and I guess we'll kind of get into that as we look at this. So let's dive in a little bit before we get too far into conjecture. So here's some of the images. They had broken down this wall where I'm guessing the tunnel was behind it.
And the police, by the by, were not the ones tearing that wall down. It was members of this organization, of whatever religious building this is.
It was the young men who were tearing it down.
Fair enough.
Presumably to get access to it, to prevent them from filling it. So it is hard to believe that the events of this afternoon, Monday, actually took place in reality, but it seems that reality exceeds all imagination. A group of unruly rioters, not afraid to use the word rioter here, which is interesting. Yeah, but that's an interesting... now this is Chabad info. Am I pronouncing that right? Chabad?
Chabad. I'm not 100% sure, to tell you the truth.
I believe. So, I don't know calling them rioters, but they're calling unruly rioters destroyed the wall with their own hands, confronted the police who came to put order in the place. Not stop unrestrained riot until they were arrested by the police, finally caused the closure of the Zoll of 70?
770 seems to be the designation given to this building.
If you wouldn't mind, Chance, I know I keep putting the burden on you to read.
No doubt. I honestly, I love reading, so
you can see what I'm dealing with here.
Itty bitty.
Yeah.
So it looks like that first paragraph there is a repeat, so I'm going to go ahead and skip down to the second paragraph there. So we've got, as Chabad Info has reported at the time, a couple of weeks ago, a tunnel was discovered that was dug without permission from the Rabbanib and the Gebaim, and done supposedly in the name of the cause of expanding 770. The tunnel was dug from the nearby mikveh building under the Ezras Nashim on Kingston Avenue, which led to its closure. Since the digging endangered those inside and those learning there during the week, which is also nearby, because the passage became dangerous. After inspecting the damage, the engineer tasked by the Gebaim decided to fill the tunnel as well as the space under the Kingston Ezras Nashim with cement. This was to allow the reopening of the Ezras Nashim. Indeed, on Monday afternoon, the first concrete truck arrived to start the work, after which 3 more trucks were expected to arrive. At this point, when Porkei Ol realized what was happening, they began to destroy the wall that separated the large Zal from the space below the Ezras Nashim. The Mashgiach, Rabbi Blooming, tried to stop them from carrying out their plot, was pushed away with a rough hand, and 2 policemen who tried to stop the crime were also unsuccessful. They did not rest until they brought a hammer and destroyed the wall, both the famous wood paneling and the brick wall behind it. More NYPD officers were called to the scene, but their rampage continued, and the officers had to use tear gas to stop the shocking destruction. That's interesting. I haven't seen any video footage of tear gas being used, not even a little bit. And there's a lot of footage from inside of this place during this event. They finally succeeded in their mission and even led 7 of the rioters to be arrested and brought to the 71st Precinct in Crown Heights.
So, I mean, you can tell when I talk about the Jewish nomenclature here, it's kind of hard to pick through.
Yeah, these are absolutely all cultural divides.
Something about
words that I do not understand.
So we're talking about different factions here, right? Within this faith is the best I can come up with.
I don't know the cultural dissection.
Not
All
at
I
all.
know is secret tunnel. Secret tunnel.
Which is really cool. I can't say how many times I have said, I wish I had a secret tunnel.
Don't we all?
Hey.
There's a scene in Better Call Saul where the cartel guy like crawls out of his house under the secret tunnel that he had. I'm like, man, I want an escape hatch. That'd be cool. All right, so if you want to continue
Yeah,
here, if you want to
absolutely.
mind.
So, the police cleared out the rest of the onlookers. Mispa Alalem and Timmimim. God. Oh God. This is probably the hardest stuff I've had to read in my life.
When we've read some really wacky, like,
I'm glad you have to read it because I don't know how to pronounce any of
I'm
it.
doing my best. Enclosed the large Zal of 770, not allowing anyone to enter. Chabad Info has learned that the large Zal will remain closed at least until after engineers have checked the extent of the damage caused to the building and after the necessary repairs have been made to ensure the safety of Mispalulim. There is no Chassid who is not horrified by the sight of the shocking images and videos of the destruction. And there is no Chassid who is not horrified by the fact that a small number of young people allow themselves to do as they please in Beis Shayanu, the Rebbe Shul.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out what some of those words mean.
yeah, well, probably, I mean, we chose this article because it seems the closest to the, what's actually happening, but
It seems like an Orthodox Jewish news site in legitimacy, so. What do we have for Chassid?
I think we're talking about
Followers?
followers, yeah. Faithful here.
Any Jewish language experts, Hebrew, I guess it would be here, please chime in. Help us out. Please.
Yeah, if you know something, let us know because I don't know.
Oh dear. Now, the heart of Lubavitch hurts even more, when to the sites of destruction is added the news that the place from which light comes out into the world and is closed and locked with a bolt. Not for nothing did Rabbi Braun recite the Posuk. I can't read that next part. Not even
Where are we at?
the Hebrew, the actual Hebrew.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is a spiritual text. This is scripture.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But we don't know what that is, so they're reciting scripture.
So now, everyone awaiting for the damage to be repaired so that they can open the Zal for davening and study, and especially for the steps that the Gaboim and Rabbanim will take to stop this from happening again, to put an end to the great Chelushim Lubavitch name on an unprecedented scale.
So I could be wrong, but I believe that Gaboin and Rabbanim
Or the followers and the priests.
Yeah, exactly. So, they're expressing discontent, obviously, with what happened, to put it mildly. Sounds like they're disgusted. And here we have even more images.
The police presence there was fairly large. I'm counting 1, 2, 3...
Sorry.
No, you're good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At least 8 officers, 9 officers in that photo alone that I can see.
Yeah, I mean, they're there in force. It's not quite like Miami, but they're there. This might have been a more appropriate response, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I would expect to see more with the size of the congregation around them. I don't think if that congregation decided to get unruly that those officers would be able to handle that. That's a fairly large outnumber.
Here is what appears to be video of the tunnels, or an entry to the tunnels.
The claim of that, by the by, is not something that can be 100% verified, but this video is circulating as being inside of the tunnels. That's a lot of disturbed dirt. I guess that's where they were backfilling everything into. It almost looks like bathrooms. Yeah, that's a urinal.
Yeah. Well, and this is interesting because this looks like a trek. Like, this looks like it's to maybe a person could get in there, but number one, does that not look like cement or concrete.
It absolutely does. Like maybe they bust into something that was already there. Like this is maybe in the basement of the building, and that's an entrance into the tunnel itself. From the other side that we're seeing in the other photos. Yeah, because this is in a bathroom. Like an old, dilapidated bathroom. Now, it is entirely possible that this video has no relation whatsoever to what we're speaking on. Like I said, it is unsubstantiated claims of this video floating around that relate it to what we're speaking on. So take this with a grain of salt, what we're watching. We do have some more videos coming up shortly that show actual footage of the event that we've been discussing. Anything you guys take note of, particularly in this?
So the tunnel, the small tunnel, number one, there's all that dirt, which looks like something was dug out. And there's a bunch of clothes there that look like they could be their clothes, right? They look like black garb.
Black
that,
pants, white shirts.
Hasidic Jew might wear. And we're getting into this tunnel here. The concrete here is interesting. And it almost looks like a track to me. You see how the edges
are raised?
Yes. And it makes me wonder, is that to pull a cart, to pull materials through?
Maybe dirt through?
Yeah, that's a possibility. But the amount of effort it would take to actually build that
to pour concrete
floor
in an
of
area
that
like
is
that,
very interesting.
Because you'd be on your hands and knees crawling through that.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, we got old chairs, just kind of junk.
Like whatever was in this bathroom to begin with, and just kind of got.
Why is there a car seat? Like,
It looks
thrown
like
to
a
the
car
side?
seat.
It is
right?
someone I saw someone look that up. It is actually a high chair.
Oh, okay. That makes. Oh.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it
Doesn't
makes
make
any more
sense.
sense.
But it looks like this area might have been used to just discard things.
Right.
At the beginning, you see boxes of old documents and trash and stuff, and it looks like this may just be like a forgotten about basement where they throw the things they don't need anymore. And I think that's a completely feasible explanation to what we're seeing.
The reason this
items.
is such a big deal is that because of the way New York City is built and all of the way the buildings are, this could literally collapse the area. But then again, if they're going to fill it in with concrete, why wouldn't you clean it out first?
Well, I don't know that they're filling in that entire basement. I think it's more about that tunnel.
Okay, that makes a
Like
lot
it looked
more
like,
sense.
because there was steps going down, it looked like it could have been a legitimate basement, and that was the entry to a tunnel.
Secret tunnel. This is what appears to be a video of some of the protesters during the arrest. It's towards the end of the event inside of the religious building, and it seems to be they're arresting and escorting the few people that they did get arrests on.
Well, and this is certainly footage of the incident. That we can say.
The poor cop just keeps walking around in circles. He went over the table, went around, and then went right back to the spot he was.
Yeah, they're hustling.
And that other guy looks like he's dancing.
They've obviously got some guys in cuffs. Looks like they're trying to pull something out.
They're pulling
Is
people
that a
out.
person? They're
Yep.
pulling people out of this tunnel. It looks like he's singing.
Oh yeah,
Right?
he's singing.
dancing and singing.
So, you know, I think I had heard that it was like worship.
And the people they're putting in cuffs do appear to be fairly on the young side. So that leads credence to what we've heard about this being like a group of rebellious younger members of this congregation
Or
being the ones.
some other congregation next door. It's kind of confusing. There was some sort of potential dispute over rights to the area, but like Jacqueline was saying, in terms of like building code, yeah, you could. There's no reason
Cave
to
in the
have those
whole-
things.
Yeah.
if you're in Florida or even here in Arizona, we experience sinkholes. That's a real danger.
They'll swallow your whole house.
I still think the tunnel's awesome and I want one, but
We all want a
Totally
secret
want
tunnel.
a secret tunnel with a hidden room at the end. And
I'd reinforce mine though.
I want like a secret passageway. It's like a bookcase that opens or something.
Ooh,
I feel like
there
that's
you
too much
go.
of a dead giveaway, though.
No, it's so much of a dead giveaway, no one
That
would
would-
suspect it.
That's
anymore.
true.
But you have to have the fake book that you like pull
Oh,
quarter
yeah.
ways out, and then you hear like some mechanisms tick behind it. And...
Absolutely.
But you also have to have a fog machine activate when
So
you
when
pull
you
the
open
books.
That would be so cool. This poor cop.
Oh my god.
Running
you should-
around in circles. He looks like he's really struggling.
Yeah, I mean, they're hustling. There's no doubt about it. Whatever's happening here is a serious and tense situation.
And they got the zip tie cuffs in their hands. Like, they're ready to just pass those out like candy on Halloween.
I wonder if we will ever know more about it. Is it going to come out, or are they going to keep it under wraps because it's religious?
Probably get memory hold, and also it's kind of a hard thing to understand.
Mm-hmm. And the mattresses
super
behind
weird.
the walls. Yeah.
That's a lot of mattresses. You know,
Why
somebody
would you have a bunch of stained mattresses on walls?
to
Soundproofing is
Yes.
the only thing I can think of.
dampen sound is exactly what I was thinking.
And they just grabbed the first
Is he
large foam objects they could
Yeah.
find.
Here's, you know, they're breaking down these walls.
They
in
almost look
protest.
like toddler mattresses, you know, like
They're definitely
They
small.
look like
Yeah.
maybe twin size,
Twin
like old
size.
twin size thin mattresses. But you know, people were talking, oh, there's blood stains on them. I don't know that they're blood stains. Look like
There's some kind of stain on
Yeah,
that
there's
one.
threw up
something
on them or
that.
something.
Then
Yeah, but
again,
that could
there
be
could have been
anything.
like moisture in there that built up some kind of mold.
Yeah, it could be anything.
I like the blue yarmulke, the
I
bright
was
blue
just
yarmulke
thinking
there.
that.
That's
I like
styling
that
right
he
there.
stands
It's
out.
colorful. Yeah.
I want one of their hats. Look at them.
Pretty cool.
Look at that, man. Wide brim hats are the
Man,
style.
wouldn't you be sad if you couldn't grow the facial hair like all the rest have?
Can't grow facial hair.
Yeah, that'd be really.
You've
sad
got
if you don't
facial
put it
hair.
in.
Don't sell yourself short.
Growing
Struggle.
patchy, bro.
I think this whole incident is super weird.
It's strange. That is 100% for sure. It's one of the weirdest news stories that I've
Right.
seen in a long time. This
This is
is
a
the
great
best
one.
part.
I love this. I love
They
this
cut
so
it
much.
perfectly out to where a person can fit through.
And I have-
it's awesome.
I have to imagine they had that newspaper stand
Thing over
like,
it.
over it, yeah. There's another video I couldn't find of them welding that up, like welding bars
Yeah,
across
I
it
saw
not
that
too
too.
long after it happened, and someone stuck their phone underneath the bars, and it looks like a basement
Yeah.
area. It doesn't look like that like leads into a tunnel specifically.
Yeah, it looks like they dug out a basement in specifically underneath that
Mm-hmm.
grate.
But I love this. Is so goofy.
I love it because of them wearing such similar clothes. Like, how would you even prove who that is?
Mm.
Because there's not a direct facial hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, he definitely shoves the cameraman. He doesn't want. He's fleeing. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to be seen. So the question is, when they came to fill this, I had heard reports that these guys were in there to stop them from filling it, or did they just get caught in the act of being down there generally, doing whatever they're doing?
That's freaking awesome.
I just love the image of the
Yeah.
first thing you see is the hat, and then it just
Uh-huh.
slowly
Pop out of
grows
the
into a
New York
person.
City tunnel. It's weird.
The question is, are there gators down there? That's the real question.
Giant New York City rats.
gators.
Nah, man, we're dealing with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Jews.
I hope so.
Oh god.
So that's it on the videos. I have a couple other screenshots if we want to look at them. Oh, is this the guy who?
This is the guy.
Okay, so we don't know, how valid this is, or if he was anywhere near this. So he could just be some jerk making stuff up. But
so we've got a gentleman who posted some tweets back in November, and he said, "I swear I keep hearing Yiddish under the floor in my New York apartment. I live at ground level and we have no basement." And he also posted, "There are Jews living under my apartment. I hear them. It's like they are digging or something. For the record, I live at ground level and we do not have a basement." He was forced to delete those tweets, I believe. And
yeah, I think he was accused of being anti-Semitic, and
Even though he's probably really hearing, like, that would be terrifying.
he could have actually been hearing it. Yeah.
And frankly, this is more just a comedy piece. Just the fact that he had he posted these and then something like this comes out is
right.
hilarious.
Which, again, we don't know exactly, but maybe this was the guy above him, because apparently they were tunneling underneath another building that was in between these two structures. So what do you guys think is going on here? What can you...
I think it's something secretive for the young guys. I think
like a frat hangout
well, maybe
kind of thing.
originally it was for 2020 shutdown, and then maybe from there it went into something that the younger guys were doing that may or may not be legal. I don't know.
Just kind of got co-opted as like, hey, let's go hang out in the secret tunnel.
Right.
If I had to guess, it's like an underground, like, Jewish frat house. They dug this out, maybe to do some things that they're probably not supposed to be doing. Drugs, girls, who knows? And this was their clubhouse.
Or maybe it was completely innocent and we are just not knowing the rest of the story.
Yeah, I could be totally wrong. I don't know how you make sense of it, but that's what makes the most sense to me. That seems to be the most simple explanation, that this was a clubhouse for these guys, because the way that the other rabbis and stuff were talking about this, and the way that that website, the Shabbat website we had up, talks about it, is that they were disgusted that these guys were doing whatever they wanted to do, and it says it's something along those lines in that article that we just read, that that it's shame that they will just do whatever they want to do. Well, maybe they were doing whatever they wanted to do down there, outside the purview of their religious leaders or something.
I think that is the most likely explanation, and if we're applying Occam's razor to it, I'm probably going to lean into that one.
Yeah. It's cool, though. I mean, secret tunnels are always appealing.
Tunnel, man. Why do
I
they
love
get the
watching
secret tunnels.
Yeah, we've done like a couple of caving videos, or at least we tried to do one at the very end of an episode in the past. I think it was cave diving. Just the idea of what could be under your feet is very alluring.
We know that we have some in the Tucson area. There's tunnels.
Rick said, okay, so a funny thought. Like the strange jaguar, what does your brain do when a random Jewish dude pops out of a city's grate?
Hey, someone had the whereabouts to get their camera out at the perfect time.
Yeah, somebody had their camera out. They probably knew something was going on inside.
Heard something. I don't know, but that was literally one of the best clips ever.
Oh, that was great. That is in the running for best video of 2024.
Yes,
I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I love that so much. Just the hat turns into a full person.
Yes.
Just
I've just never seen anything like it. Was you're right. It was something like out of Ninja Turtles. Like you're coming out of like the sewer, and I don't know. It was weird.
Jacqueline, you had said earlier to me, like, why would you be doing this underground? Why would you have an underground bunker if you didn't have anything to hide?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I could think I would love to have an underground bunker, and I'm not necessarily going to hide much in it, just to have a space of your own, to have it. Not just the fact that it's underground is alluring, but this idea of having a space of yours. And maybe that's what this was to these guys.
Yeah,
it
totally
was their
could
space. And now it's getting filled and taken away from them, and they thought maybe they had enough cultural cohesion, enough group cohesion between them to say, no, we're going to fight for what we believe is ours and what is our space. Maybe that's all it is.
It's unfortunate, though, that they didn't realize, like, structural damage and like the
Yeah.
fact that it could have all caved in on
Well,
them.
they might have realized that and not cared. Maybe they did some things to negate that. But, you know, it's...
Can you imagine the whole congregation falling downwards in the middle of like a congregation,
Right?
just straight into the Jewish frat
like a
party, and they're
service or
like,
something? Yeah.
"You guys broke the disco ball."
Right. I mean, like, when I was young, I was part of certain Christian youth groups and stuff, and it did kind of, the church I went to, they had an outbuilding for youth services and games and fun, and there was a basketball court and, a video game setup and all that sort of stuff, and it was fun because it was our space. It wasn't owned by the adults. It was... What am I trying to say here?
A safe place for teenagers.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
something similar at my church.
Yeah, we do lock-ins and all that typical youth group stuff, right? But we felt a degree of ownership over it, and maybe that's what was happening here. Although I will say the young men who are being pulled out, yeah, they look young, but they don't look that young.
No, early 20s
Right.
to early 30s, somewhere in that range. And it makes sense, especially with the death of the third place as a general thing that's happening now. People in their younger years don't have... Shopping malls are dead, right? There's no places of congregation like there used to be.
Well,
What?
he had just said lock-ins. I'm like, I haven't seen anything like that since I was a kid.
And like, church attendance is at a low. But that's not necessarily the case within this community. It's kind of hard to translate that.
Valid.
So, I don't know that anything nefarious was going on here, although underground tunnels are always subject of conspiracy. Constantly finding like cartel tunnels and stuff like that over the border.
Oh, yeah.
When we talk about, if you were to talk about Israel and Gaza, the tunnels there, who knows what goes on in a tunnel? Hi, this is Gavin with Dark Dial. Welcome into the CRT. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us out as a channel, and it helps you find us that much easier. If you can leave a comment down below, we'd love to know what you thought about the video. We're going to be live typically on Thursdays, 6 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Central, and be sure to check out darkdial.com. We've got a cool forum you can sign up for, as well as links to all of our social accounts on there. Thanks for watching.